Okay, so starting off today's show, I wanted to talk a little bit about the news that broke late last night, and it's going to feel so good talking to you guys about a story that actually has to do with something that we plan on happening on the football field this year as opposed to something off the field, whether it has something to do with the coronavirus or anything else that has been going on in this country over the last couple weeks. So when I was preparing for this show, I was really looking forward to talking with you guys about this subject in Cam Newton. And the first thing I wanted to talk about with Cam, and the first perspective I want to look at this from, is that the Patriots, a lot of people were saying leading up to Cam Newton signing with the New England Patriots that this was the Buffalo Bills division to win, and that when you look at the New England Patriots roster, they had rebuild written all over them. And there are two perspectives I want to attack at that from when you say the New England Patriots had rebuild written all over them. Number one, everything we've known about Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, right? Nothing has ever told us that he'd be interested in rebuilding this year. Really, the only thing that has ever told us that was just the fact that he hadn't signed a quarterback yet. That up until the point of signing Cam Newton, it looked like the New England Patriots really did believe in Jarrett Stidham to be their starting quarterback. But when you look at the way the New England Patriots roster is constructed, and this is, I'm talking about before they signed Cam Newton, they were literally ready to rebuild at quarterback, but nowhere else on the team. And I'll explain to you what I mean. Last year, Tom Brady was not really the reason why the New England Patriots won the AFC East in 10 or 11 or so games, He wasn't the reason why they were a successful team. It was their defense. And I understand that the New England Patriots defense has lost some guys from last year's team, whether it's Kyle Van Noy, whether it is Danny Shelton on the defensive side of the ball. Jamie Collins is no longer there. So the Patriots defense has lost some guys. But even with that being said, I still think it is one of the more productive units in the National Football League. And when you incorporate that, plus Bill Belichick being the head coach, plus hopefully improved offensive line play, I actually like the signing of Cam Newton, not only from his perspective, but the New England Patriots perspective as well. I don't think I'm overreacting here when I say by the Patriots signing Cam Newton, this does put them in a position to win the AFC East once again. Because the thing was with Jarrett Stidham, he could still be the Patriots quarterback of the future. We don't know that. I think when we look at Cam Newton and where he is in his career right now, I see this being a short-term move for the New England Patriots franchise and him and his future. But we don't really know who the New England Patriots quarterback of the future is. But when you look at their defense, I think that is a unit that is ready to win now. When we look at their coach, I think Bill Belichick is capable of bringing a team that at the beginning of the season, not a lot of people may expect to win. I think he's capable of bringing that team back from the dead and leading them to better expectations than expected. And when we look at this from Cam Newton's perspective, he's going to be very motivated after what happened to him in Carolina. And I think that kind of leads directly into the question people were asking, okay, when Tom Brady announced he was signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? I think we all kind of assumed to ask, whoever is going to be the next starting quarterback of the New England Patriots, he's going to have to learn to deal with the Patriot fans' expectations. And at the same time, I also think Patriot fans were going to have to say to themselves, okay, no matter who our next quarterback is, it's going to be unfair for us to expect the same things that we would have expected from Tom Brady. But with Cam Newton, I think that isn't really a factor in terms of pressure because he is really going to be motivated to prove himself. I think there's a chance, I think there's a case to be made that if Cam Newton doesn't succeed in New England this year with the Patriots, is he ever going to get an NFL job again? We don't know, because what we do know is last year, the last couple games that that Cam Newton had played with the Carolina Panthers, we saw that he really didn't look healthy. And he took the last 14 weeks of last season off. He hasn't played football in basically a full season. If you're a Patriot fan, you hope that he's fresh, he's all ready to go. And I just think Cam Newton, the other reason why I really like the signing from his perspective is because, as I said, if he doesn't succeed this year in New England, there's a very good case to be made that Cam Newton may never have a job in the NFL again. And I understand the Patriots on paper, when you look at their weapons, it isn't great compared to a lot of the other teams in the NFL. But when you're trying to redeem yourself and when you're trying to prove to the rest of the NFL that you could still do this and you could still be a productive player, right? When that is your number one goal. And to me, in this situation, it does kind of look like that is what Cam Newton is trying to do here. What better coach is there to play for than Bill Belichick? I mean, I don't think Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton not signing until the end of June has more to do with the pandemic and everything that has gone on from a football perspective with the coronavirus than the NFL telling him, okay, you're not one of the 40 or so best quarterbacks in the National Football League. I think if the pandemic doesn't happen, Cam Newton has a job by now. And that actually brings us directly to the question, has this been in the works for a while? We all said when the offseason started, and basically as soon as Tom Brady decided to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? We basically have been asking the question, who is going to be the New England Patriots starting quarterback since that period of time? And when the offseason kept on dragging out and free agency kept on happening, and we saw Jameis Winston sign with the New Orleans Saints, we saw Andy Dalton sign with the Dallas Cowboys, and we also saw the New England Patriots decide that they weren't willing to draft a quarterback, we kind of all just assumed that Jarrett Stidham would be Bill Belichick's guy. We kind of just assumed that there would be no reason why Bill Belichick would go into the season with Jarrett Stidham as his starting quarterback if he didn't believe in him. But now, when we look closer at the situation and the decision of Cam Newton to sign with the New England Patriots, we do kind of ask ourselves, how long has this been in the works? And all that stuff we said about Jarrett Stidham may now go out the window, because I think we would all be kind of surprised if Cam Newton wouldn't be the week one starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. And it's going to be also very interesting for me to see how exactly Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick adjust to them having to coach a new quarterback. And are they going to have to adjust their playbook and add some new plays for Cam Newton to be their starting quarterback? Because I think when we look at this signing, and we're going to ask ourselves some questions off the bat, no doubt about it. But the first questions that come to mind are going to be, okay, how is Cam Newton going to do in New England? And from his perspective, when you're looking at him, how is he going to be able to perform? But I also think we have to do that as well when we talk about Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. They've really only coached one kind of quarterback and one particular style of play since they've been in charge of things in New England. And I think just when you look at this signing from both perspectives, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's why I really like this signing from both sides. And I think it absolutely does put the New England Patriots in a position to succeed. Now, the other question here is, when you compare the New England Patriots with Cam Newton to the other teams in the AFC East, do your expectations change? And I do feel like most people up to this point did favor or have favored the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East. And that is not only me. That's not me, but I'm just saying for the most of the NFL media. And the reason why I haven't been doing that, and this is even before Cam signed with New England, and now obviously that they have a little bit more of an established quarterback, I continue to favor the New England Patriots to win the AFC East. It wasn't only because of them, and it wasn't only because of my belief in Bill Belichick and that defense, but I just don't really believe in the Buffalo Bills. And to be more specific with you, I don't really believe the Buffalo Bills quarterback situation. I don't really know if Josh Allen has proven himself yet as a guy that could go out there and win you an AFC East division title. I actually think he has some major flaws in his game that could be very concerning if you're a Buffalo Bill fan. I'll start by saying this, as much as I like Sean McDermott, as much as I like the Bills' offensive line, and as much as I like the Bills' defense, the Bills went 1-5 against teams that made the playoffs last year. They lost twice to the New England Patriots. They lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, who won the NFC East. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens, both of those two games I mentioned prior at home, who won the AFC North. They also, when you look at the rest of their schedule, they won 0-2 against New England. They also lost to Houston in the playoffs as well. But the only game the Buffalo Bills won against a playoff team last year was against the Tennessee Titans. In that game, the final score was 14-7, and the Titans kicker Cairo Santos missed 3 separate field goals in that game. The Bills' best win of the season was against the Dallas Cowboys, who weren't technically a playoff team. I'll give them credit. That was a really good win. But now this season, the Buffalo Bills are going to have to show me that they can beat good teams and not just the Jets and the Giants and the Redskins and the Bengals, the Broncos last year, who weren't very good. Teams like that. And when you look at the other teams in the AFC East, I think one of the major quarterback storylines this year is Sam Darnold going to take that next step. I like his game. I believe in him. With the Jets franchise as a whole, though, I don't necessarily know if I believe in Adam Gase as a head coach. I think when you look at the Miami Dolphins, I really like what they're building there. I just think they could be a year away, and I don't know if they're going to be able to win the AFC East until Tua Tagovailoa is able to take that next step as a quarterback, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that as a rookie. So when I look at all those factors and I combine them, the answer that comes to mind for me of who is winning the AFC East, it just is the New England Patriots, because now you have a guy like Cam. I don't think has to be great for the New England Patriots to win the AFC East. He just has to be decent or average. And when you look at New England and the way the rest of their team is set up, I know that a lot of people are going to say that one of the main reasons why Tom Brady wasn't really effective as a quarterback last year was because of the weapons. And they haven't really done much to improve those weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And you're going to say, Zach, they didn't do anything really to try to improve the weapons for their quarterback. But what I also will say is this. I think a lot of it had to do with the offensive line and the poor play of that. The Patriots' offensive line really wasn't any good last year, and I think getting their center back, David Andrews, could really help things and really could help improve the chemistry of that unit. But what I also will say is this. I don't think Sony Michel all of a sudden just forgot how to play football in the span of one offseason. You know, I think 2 years ago, the most recent Super Bowl championship the New England Patriots franchise has won, he was a big part of that offense. And if it wasn't for him, I don't really know if the New England Patriots end up winning that Super Bowl. Personally, I still believe in Julian Edelman and his game. I know he's a little old. I know he wasn't very good last year, but I still think he could be effective. N'Keal Harry, I understand people like to roast him as well. He was not good down the stretch last year, but he's also he's only entering his second year. He's still a very young player, and the Patriots rarely miss on first-round picks on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm not really willing to give up on him yet. Same with Mohamed Sanu. Right now, does that trade look very good for the New England Patriots? Absolutely not. But at the same time, what I also will say is Sanu is a good veteran player. He's had a very productive and consistent career. I wouldn't really be willing to give up on him just yet. And when I look at the other teams in the division, when I look at the New England Patriots defense, I tend to favor these guys. And I like the signing of Cam Newton from both perspectives. I think this is a good move for Cam if he wants to show the rest of the league, give me another contract, I'm still good, forget about what happened in Carolina. I think it's good, and I think it's also good from his perspective because he gets to play for Bill Belichick, who is the best coach in the history of the National Football League. I think it's good for the Patriots because it's a short-term solution at quarterback, and I think the way their franchise is positioned right now with the coach and their defense, I think Cam is the perfect guy to bring in and say, all right, just give us good, solid quarterback play. We don't need you to be great. Just be consistently good. I think this is a move that really works and helps both sides. And I'll give the Patriots credit. I think this is vintage Belichick, as historically he's shown in the past that he's been willing to take some chances on guys that not really the rest of the league would always be willing to take. And when you combine that and you combine my feelings on the Buffalo Bills and their questions at quarterback, I think this is a really good and productive move that could work out for both sides of Cam Newton and the New England Patriots.